Hey, 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 and it looks like we're live on the DigiNinja Dealer Academy. Now, some people say DigiNinja, some people say DigiNinja. DigiNinja yet? I don't know which one's right. I know when I say digital, I say digital, so I figured I'd say DigiNinja, but someone told me that was wrong. So DigiNinja, here we are. The main thing is we have a guest today that knows a whole lot about dealerships, digital dealerships, because if you don't have a digital dealership in today's market, you are losing. You are a loser. You don't want to be a loser. You want to listen and learn. Be very careful. Be very cautious. Be very particular who you take your information from, who you get your advice from. It is live at 11. Billy Merritt presents. It's right now 11 o'clock. And without further ado, I'm going to bring to you an expert, Caleb Wilson, dealer advisor. Here he is. Oh, he's got his DigiNinja paraphernalia on today.
That's it. Appreciate the hat.
Absolutely. So how's things? How's the overall market? I know you deal with tons of dealers. How did August end up, and how did your dealers end up compared to the market? And then how's September starting out?
So everyone had a really solid month. I mean, I'm still seeing a lot of inventory concerns. The dealers who have always stockpiled, have always bought heavy. The dealers that had solid financials where they could, had cash flow. They had a lot of cash on hand. They could buy inventory and not have to floor plan everything and worry about curtailment payments. Those guys that have that surplus inventory are doing really well right now because there is limited inventory in some of the brands, especially the foreign brands. The Toyota stores, the Honda stores seem to have limited inventory, but everyone has seen record profits in regards to gross because there is limited inventory. There's less shopping, and people are, if only one dealer has a vehicle, it's kind of hard to go out and price shop it and try to beat their price. So I talked to every dealer that I kind of followed up with yesterday and this morning. I had really, really strong months. Very excited about what they're doing. Their personnel cost seems to be down some because they have, they had let some people go and things at the beginning of the whole Corona outbreak. And so they found out who they need, who they don't need. They've figured out who they can keep doing business with and without. And things seem to be going really well. September, everyone's kind of trying to hurry up and close their month to get ready for this Labor Day weekend. Last year on Labor Day weekend, some of my clients told me, they said, hey, we had a kind of a rough Labor Day weekend. But I really think it's because they were still focused on closing August and not focused on getting September ready, which goes back to our talk about managing in weeks and not months. And they wouldn't have that issue. So a lot of my guys are prepared for that, and they're off to a good start. They got a lot of appointments for the weekend. I was just going over appointment numbers, and I've got several clients that already have north of 40 appointments for this weekend. So they're prepared and ready to have a big weekend.
Being prepared, always having a plan. That's very key. Let's talk about some nuts and bolts here. And I know you probably have some bullet points you want to talk about, but before we get into that, let's talk about inventory. I know inventory is really tight. Production's down. I have one of my personal dealers that I deal with. One of my favorite dealers is known for having huge amounts of inventory, and sometimes he would have a 6, 8, 10-month supply, which sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That looked like a lot going into the first quarter of 2020, but now with that 1-year supply of inventory that he has been able to just kill it through the coronavirus. What's your thoughts? Some people say 60-day supply, 90-day supply. I believe in a little bit more than that. What's your take on inventory? How should we look at that?
Well, I think on new car, it's turn. I would like, as a dealer, I would like to take every car I could get, but I also had to be smart about what my term was. And I think you should be able to, I think a 3 to 4 month supply in a very efficient, well-managed, well-operated dealership is fine because you're grinding it out. You're aware of it. You're moving your dealer, trading out your problem inventory. See, that's the thing. You can take a bulk inventory, take vehicles you don't want, and then because you have so much that everyone needs, you just don't let them have it without taking the piece you didn't want. So when someone has a car sold and they call you and say, hey, Billy, you have stock number or VIN number this in stock. We have it sold. Can we have it? I'm gonna say, sure, you can have it, but you're gonna have to take this vehicle with it as well. I sell that car for invoice to that dealer. I make the whole back. I get the interest credits for stocking the vehicle. And it's just another way for me to make money and really sell two cars I can sell cars to customers and to other dealers by taking bulk inventory.
Right. So you're okay with 120-day supply on I am personally, but
I think it's great. And see, and I know the dealer you're talking about because I was looking for a truck last week and, I had to buy something. I needed to buy a vehicle, and I was looking at my local dealers first that I do business with here. And unfortunately, they just didn't have any inventory. I was looking for a 3/4 ton truck, and they may have like 2 in stock. A Chevy dealer that I have family at had 1 in stock. They just don't have the inventory. And then I visited with a customer, our customer there, and he had 3 pages of heavy duty trucks to choose from. And so, it makes it easy to make your choice when you can see the vehicle. And so if I was in that guy's position right now, I know that he must be doing really well because he has all the goods, he has everything everyone wants. And it's because he wasn't scared to go out and buy that inventory. But also I know that that guy's a great operator, and he has all the other things in place. So when I said it's fine to have, a 3 to 4 month supply of inventory, it is, but I also said you need to be doing all those other things right to be able to have that inventory, have a plan. And that's why, like, I had a client last week, a new client, and he still had new 2016 model trucks in stock. And it's because he just didn't pay attention to it. And that's also why there was a new general manager brought in. But the point is those vehicles should have been gone 4 years ago. And and he had plenty of 17s and 18s and 19s. He would just hide them in the back, just move them to the back and hide them, and keep trying to sell the new stuff. And and that's where poor inventory management will really. You think about that. You got 4 16 model trucks that have probably depreciated 20 grand a piece, and you just lost $80,000 because someone wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I could go on and on, and if need be, I have some more questions I would like to talk about dealer wise and operations wise. I was curious about the inventory. Do you have an agenda? Do you have some bullet points that a topic you wanted to touch on today?
Well, I was just going to talk about the greeting process today, because that's where it starts at. That's the we talked last week about kind of a brand strategy, how to get customers to show up at the store. So I thought, why not talk about what to do as soon as they show up?
Let's do it.
All right. So greeting, in my opinion, is the most important part of the deal. You only get that one chance to make a first impression, and we all have to go out and talk to somebody at the car lot. So a couple things about that. When you have new salespeople or even seasoned salespeople, I would say that, what do you think? You pull up on the lot, you get out of your car, you walk in the shoe store, anywhere you go to, and a salesman comes up to you. What do they typically say to you, Billy?
Well, the basics are, hey, can I help you? That's always seems wherever you go, hey, can we help you?
What they're going to ask, can I help you? Right. And then what do we say? What's the first thing that people say?
Unequivocally, just looking is the number one thing that people say. And I say it when I'm in a shoe store or department.
I would like to make a list. That's another thing people watching could do is just, I don't think we'll come up with 10 responses. I really don't. I'm just looking. It's really hard to list out. It's like, so think of it from the car dealer perspective. We're going to get, I'm just looking. We're going to get, hey, I only have 5 minutes. We're going to get, hey, my spouse isn't with me.
Not today.
I'm not looking for nothing today. I just wanted to pull in here real quick and see what you had. What else do you get?
This is my first stop, man. I don't even know what I'm looking at yet.
First stop. So we're 5 of them.
Yeah.
We'll have a hard time finding 10.
We will not find 10 that you will hear this year. You may hear a total of 10 in your entire sales career.
That's right. So the thing about the greeting is if we can control it from the dealership level and know the psychology behind what's going to be said and then how to be prepared to handle it, then we're going to give our dealership a big leg up on moving the sales process along in the direction that we want it to go, because we can control the whole deal. if we set it up right. So I'm just going to read this real quick about the greeting. Just a quick little thing here about greeting. It says the importance of the greeting is immense as it sets the stage for the balance of the customer interaction. The ability to deliver an effective greeting requires awareness of the customer's expectations, concerns, and in addition to that, paying attention to the environment where the greeting takes place. So that was just like a quick little thing about setting it up. And I was going to talk about every part of the greeting before we talked about really what to say. So what a dealership can do is control the greeting. So one of the worst things that I see if I'm at a store is you'll see the customer, they'll pull in the lot, they'll go park way, 200 yards from the dealership, and they'll get out of their car and they start looking back to see if someone's coming. The salesman starts walking out there and the customer jumps in the car and moves, and then they get out again. The salesman starts going, they jump in the car and move. I mean, that's setting yourself up for failure from the start. So what I think a dealership should do, and this is, you'll hear some negative about this, but I think you have to restrict the ability for customers to move around the lot in their vehicle, and you've got to control where the greetings can happen at. So I would have clear, defined customer parking, and I would make sure that they had to park that vehicle in a controlled environment up front where I can have a manager come out and get some early management intervention, also help and make sure that my greeting steps were followed. So I think the first thing that a dealership should do before worrying about what the salesman says is having the customer in a good place for the salesman to engage at. Okay. So if you have them customer pulled up front and you make it where that's the only place they can go, and then you have your salesman go out and do his greeting, and you have the manager, because it's right in front of the store, you have the manager out front as well. You can get that salesman on the right track, because we all know in our sales staff that not everyone's an A player, or an A plus player. You're going to have A's, B's, and C's, and you may have a slow day and your C gets the only up you're going to see that day. You're going to have to make sure that he has every advantage and he's prepared to handle that customer. So I wrote down like the greeting importance. We're going to talk about the 10 things. So the first rule that I kind of have down here is like the first step in the greeting is just have a great attitude, and be 100% committed to what you're doing. So like you talked about the shoe store, if that salesman walks up and he's like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And you say, "I'm just looking," and he's like, "All right, man, whatever," and walks off, you're not going to be excited about doing business there. People deal with so many negative people that it may be the only positive interaction someone gets that day. So the first step is just have a great attitude. And maybe you could talk about that, Billy, about how someone's great attitude puts you, lowers your defenses and puts you into a state of mind to listen.
Absolutely, man. So great attitude. In my book, The Art of Text Message Selling, rule number 1 is make a big offer. We're talking about digital sales. Rule number 2 is be fast. Okay. And that's very important digitally. Rule number 3 is have a great attitude. And I said in the book that could be rule number 1. So it's so important. We have signs and we use positive verbiage in this office when we're talking with customers digitally. And when I'm on the lot, which I like to get on the pavement, still today, I like to get out there and talk to customers when I can. A lot of my guys are out there meeting and greeting customers every day, and a smile on your face and a willingness to surrender to that customer in the beginning, with a great attitude and a smile. Here's what I like to use a lot. And I know you're going to get into some specifics, but hey man, welcome to Billy Merritt Automotive. What can I get you a price on today? It only take a second. And it's so important to do that with a smile and with enthusiasm. And I just want to mention before I turn it back over to you that we have some people watching. Chance Pridgeon, he knows a little bit about the process. He says EMI, which is an early management intervention. For those of you who don't know, I like to call it an EMT, an early management touch, where that general manager or that appraiser, somebody with authority, is going to come out. Or like you said, I'm an assistant sales manager. At least you're talking to somebody right now. Let me go ahead and get you some numbers on your car. I'll save you some time. Paige Reynolds, this is going to fit right in because Paige Reynolds is an EMT herself. And for somehow she knows about the B-back bus. She says, don't let them get on the B-back bus. So a little bit of play on words there. And Chance Pridgeon said, "Can I help you?" So that's obviously being funny about a terrible greeting there. But Attitude. Attitude's everything. You might as well have a good one.
That's right. So I'm going to make sure I'm structured. I'm going to make sure my customer can't just drag my salesperson around the lot. I want my salesperson to be excited about being a car salesman. And there's little things that we allow in the dealership that can really tear that person down. So, allowing customers that we don't need to be derogatory towards our salespeople will kill their mind, and it'll make their days miserable. It'll make them not want to be in the car business at all. So we've got to, as an ownership or management team, make sure that everything we're doing inside our store is about protecting the mind of our salesperson. And the best place to do it, in my opinion, is up front at the greeting process. So I'm going to make sure that my customers don't have the ability to just drive around my lot. I'm going to pull them in, direct them in. It works. I'm going to have them get out of their vehicle up front. I'm going to make sure my salesman has a name tag on, because when I talk to someone, and this is part of the 10 things, if I meet you and I say, hey, Billy, my name's Caleb, it's nice to meet you, and you're already thinking in your mind that you want to tell me that you're just looking, right? So you're not even thinking about listening to me tell you my name. You're just wanting to tell me that you're just looking. So if I walked out and said, hey, welcome, my name's Caleb, what can I get you information on? You don't hear any of that. All you hear is shut up so I can say I'm just looking. So name tags are important, because I know as a sales manager how many times that the salesman came to the sales desk and I said, what's your customer's name? And they would have to go get their driver's license to find out what the customer's name was. And I'm sure you've seen that plenty. It's because we don't listen. So the names are important. The name tags are important. And plus it should say assistant sales manager, which is going to obviously help that customer see that they're dealing with someone in authority who can make a decision. So greeting. First part of that is those 10 objections. So let's talk about that real quick. If we know exactly what the customer is going to say, and we know it's going to be a list of 5 or really less things that are going to come up, if we can have our salesman fully prepared to answer that, he's going to have confidence to know exactly what's going to happen. So we'll just role play, Billy. If you pull up, you get out, and I say, hey, welcome to Billy Merritt Motors. What can I get you information on today?
Man, I just have a few minutes. I saw this car online, wanted to see if I could get a price on it, and I don't have much time right now, so I just need a price.
All right, great. So 3 minutes is more than enough time, Billy. I will do more than the price. I'll get you the best price on the car. I'll get you all the payment information. I'll get you all the trade information, and I'll even tell you what your car is worth in 5 minutes or less. How's that sound?
Well, didn't expect that, but sure. I mean, if you can let me know how much my car is worth, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So to make best use of your time, Billy, let me just start with your vehicle, and I'll get you, I'll get it appraised. I'll get you show me the car that you came in on, the stock number. Let's make sure it has the right features, and I'll get you that best price, and I'll get you out of here in 5 minutes or less. Let's go ahead and get started. And so by me knowing that the customer is going to ask certain things, they're going to ask, what's the best price? What's my down payments have to be? What does my credit have to be? What would the payments be on this vehicle? What's my trade worth? Those are all things they need to know to buy a vehicle and to make so I want to go ahead and tell you up front that I'm going to get you all that information. And when I said fair enough and you tell me yes, then you just agreed to a write-up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I have to have my salesman prepared for any response that comes out. So if they say, my spouse isn't with me, or I only have 5 minutes, or I just want to see the car in person, whatever that is, it doesn't matter. And I've got to train my salesperson to not even listen to that, because every response is going to have to move that customer along. So if I was a general manager, I took over a dealership where I want to sell more cars now, this one step is one of the steps that will help you sell more than any, because your people are no longer afraid of what to say. They're prepared for it. It becomes a game, and they're ready. So just like when the customer isn't listening to us say our name is, and they're saying, they just want to say, I'm just looking. All we need to do is we want to go up, hey, welcome, what can we get you information on? And then we're just ready with what our response is going to be to control that conversation and move it forward. So that's what we're doing. That's how it's going to have to, that's how it has to go. And then as you talked about the EMT or the EMI, Chance brought that up. That is how you make sure your salespeople are doing the greeting that you train them on. So example, the customer's up front. I see them get greeted by my ASM. I walk out there and I go, hey, hello, sir. Welcome to Welcome to Billy Merritt Motors. My name's Caleb. I'm one of the executive managers here. I'm sure that, Chance told you about our express buying program or our easy buying program or our trade advantage program or whatever. And I'll go back to that in 1 second. And I just go ahead and get him on that path. So you kind of need a key word in your greeting to make sure that your salespeople are doing it. So rewind a little. Your store has to have, we talked about brand strategy. It has to have that definition. So let's say you're advertising your sales process like we talked about, and your sales process is everything you need in 30 minutes or less. And you call that, express buying or rapid buying or whatever you want to call it. As a manager, I want to make sure that my salesperson got them on the right path. So I'm going to say, hey, did they tell you about our express buying program? And if that customer tells me, no, he didn't tell me that, well, I know that I have a training opportunity to get that salesperson back on track, because I know they just delivered the greeting the wrong way. And they probably said something like, hey, how you doing today? Can I help you? Like he said. So the manager has to come out and kind of have that key development word in there to find out, is my salesperson on track? But let's assume everyone's doing their job. The salesman's on track. I come out as the manager. I say, hey, Billy, welcome. I'm glad that you met Chance. He's a great assistant sales manager here. He has the full authority to get you the best price, all the payment information. He has full authority to appraise your vehicle. This guy can do everything. I'm just here to assist. And you empower your salesperson. You build their confidence up, and you let that customer know they don't need to ever see me again, because I am not the guy in charge of the deal. The salesman's in charge of the deal. So I empower my salesperson up front, and I let the customer know that they can't ask for the manager to get a better price. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And I gotta reiterate some things you said, because you said so many key things. And I've been doing this a long, long time, and I've never heard anyone say that we as managers, as leaders of the dealership, we have to protect the mind of our salespeople. So you said that, and now you're saying that it's very important to empower your salespeople and to give them confidence. So, and you're letting the customer, your early management touch, you're going out as a senior manager, you're introducing yourself to the customer, but now you're setting the expectation that this salesperson can do it all. That is different. It is absolutely the way I do it. It's absolutely effective. And tell me what you mean about protecting the mind of your salespeople.
Well, I don't think, if you went to a kindergarten class right now and you asked every person in class, and I have 2 kids in kindergarten now, if I ask them what they want to be when they grow up, not a single one of those kids is going to raise their hand and say, I want to be a car salesman, right?
Right.
So a lot of guys who got into automotive, and this should be changed. And I think if dealers would embrace this new way of thinking, that it would change. But a lot of people are there because they didn't have another option, right? I mean, how many salespeople have we ran into and helped over the years that was super successful maybe in another field, and something happened and they ended up selling cars, or they're on the other end of that. They're recovering. They've had a really bad past, and they come in and they want to sell cars. And so salespeople, it's very few that are just the son of the owner, or they've kind of, or they're a son of a manager, a family member who got real excited about selling cars. But even in high school economics class, I can't remember anyone who had listed as their job as a car salesman. So I don't think it's a job people really think about when it really is a great career for people if they take it serious and they build their brand. They can really take their show anywhere they want, and they become their own dealership more so than like a salesperson who is tied to the dealership. So a great example of that is Tim McCarn, who works with us. Tim started McCarn Automotive Services, and I know last night he delivered his 2nd vehicle. So he's basically became his own dealership as a car salesman, delivering any brand to anyone across the area. Because he has embraced the idea of being a great car salesman. So that's the upper level of it. But that's why I said, when you go in the dealership, you usually have, if you have 10 salespeople, you have 3 salespeople doing 50% of the production and the other 7 doing the other 50%. And that's a pretty good number anywhere that you go to. So those lower guys or even those higher guys, a lot of them have a very fragile, just sense of their self. They're not super confident guys. Sometimes they're going through a lot. And the reality is that they're underperforming. They're not making any money. And, and people can say money don't make you happy, but it's like the comedian said, I'd rather be crying in a Mercedes than sitting on the corner of the street. So it's one of those things where I need those guys, my salespeople, I need to have their minds sharp. And a couple of ways I can do that is number one, just have a policy where they can come to me at any time. It doesn't need to be a burden on me as the general manager to talk to my salesperson. And then you can also, help them build their confidence up, get them, make them ASM so they feel good about themselves. Train them every day. Show them that you want to care about them, because, they really don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And they want to see that you really care about them, that you want to help them. You want to help them make money. You want to teach them about goal setting. Like I know you guys have been talking about that a lot. We want to make sure they have a target they can hit. And then we want to help them get there through appointment setting, through cold calling for them, from doing EMT, from doing all the things that we should do to make their job easier as a management team. Because what I see a lot in stores is the management team complaining about their salespeople. If you sit into a sales tower and you just sit there and observe, you'll see a salesman walk out and the manager says, man, that guy's an idiot. He's so dumb. Well, he's out there making a paycheck for those managers that are sitting in there who think the guy's so dumb he can't do his job. I mean, why don't they get up and help him and show him how to do it instead of just saying that he doesn't know what he's doing and allowing him to control their income? So salespeople, if you just talked about, we could do show after show after show on how important it is as an owner of a company to make sure your salespeople are mentally focused, that they don't have problems going on that you could help solve, and that you're not putting roadblocks in that's prohibiting them from selling cars or selling whatever the product is effectively because of something you want to get out of it that really doesn't impact the sale in any way. So I just think you really have to nurture those guys.
Listen, man, I'm gonna recap. If you're just tuning in, you need to rewind and listen to this whole thing, but I'm gonna recap what Caleb has told you so far. Your greeting is so important. You need to be prepared. You need to know there's only 5 or 6 things that are going to come up in it as an objection in a greeting. So be ready to offer price, offer trade-in, offer to save them time, offer them a huge discount. And listen, just by offering it, you're going to lower their guard. You're not giving them right away, oh, here's the price, it's $7,000. You're not telling them immediately, hey, your trade-in's worth $15,000. You're offering right from the beginning, hey, let me save you some time. Let me get you an appraisal. Let me get you that best price. I'll get you all the financing options as well. And Caleb said it's very important, put 3 stars by this one. It's very important to have a process where the senior management, I'm going to say the general sales manager, at least the sales manager, needs to touch that customer in the first 5 minutes of the greeting, introduce himself so they know who they are. They'll know who they are later as a person of authority when it's time to come in and give, for the TO. Okay. And for all of you that don't know what an EMI is, it's an early management introduction, where the salesperson knows and the sales manager knows, hey, this salesman is supposed to come introduce me to his customers. I'm not going to run from them. I'm going to run to them. So it's very important, sales managers, to get off your ass and to get out there and from the front line, lead your salespeople and show them that you know what you're doing. And if you'll help them make money, you don't have to care about them, but if you'll help them make money, they'll love you.
That's right. That's right. And that's all they want to do is make money. And so it's our job to help them. And so it's like one of the things you said there about just get off your ass and get to work. I mean, that's what they have to do. And, it's people used to tell me that the BDC department stood for the big damn chair department, because everyone in there wouldn't get off their butt and get up and move. They just wanted to, chat and talk with people. Well, the sales desk is the same thing. It's just people who don't, you want to be, I think that was the saying was, you want to be airborne, not chairborne. You want to have people up, moving, excited, who can get out there and get that customer and treat that customer like they are the most important thing. because they're right there in front of them. But also with that greeting is not just lot. Greeting is email. Greeting is internet leads. Greeting is Facebook leads. Everything greeting, it can be the exact same greeting. So I'll give you a couple examples of that. When I was out working with dealerships and helping fix dealerships, if we walked in and they said, hey, we're below our sales number and we really need to hit this number. And I can give you some real examples. Last month, I had 3 dealers who were a little behind, and we did 2 things. One, we posted a manager at the front door, and we talked to every customer in the first 3 minutes. As soon as they got out, they were greeted by the manager more so than even a salesperson, because they were behind and they really needed to hit their goal. But number 2, they used the greeting to go back and follow up with leads that they had missed. So a lot of times a lead will come in, let's say an auto trader lead or a website lead comes in, and it's a customer who's filled out the little form and said, I want your best price on this car, or hey, I want to save $500. So I filled out the little pop-up that came up on the store's website, and we start giving information on that car instead of greeting that customer. So for my stores, my autoresponder that goes out immediately is my same greeting. It would be something like, hey, Billy, thank you for your interest in this vehicle. I'd like to get you this vehicle's best price. I'd like to get you payment information, down payment information. I'd even like to get you figures on your vehicle. If you're interested in trading, I can go ahead and tell you exactly what your vehicle's worth before we even talk about the price on mine. How's that? Just let me know how to move forward. And I make my greeting my autoresponder. Well, in those just 3 days of doing that for those stores, we blasted that email out to all the old leads that we had. We got everything. They started getting trade appraisals coming in. People saying, well, here's what my car is. I've been to a couple of dealerships. What do you think it's worth? And I started getting that information back because I greeted that internet lead the same way as I did the person on the lot. And then when they did show up at the dealership, they were once again greeted the same way. So everything was familiar. And I only had to teach one thing to my whole sales team, BDC, internet team, et cetera. And everyone's on the same page. So everyone's talking the same language. Everyone knows exactly what we say. As soon as we greet somebody on the telephone or, like I said, the internet lead or the lot, it's all the same greeting. So the customer's expectation when they come in is exactly what happened before they got there. What's your thoughts on the, internet the same way?
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's in our steps every day, Caleb. It's like blocking and tackling on a football field. You got to offer. You got to have a great attitude, and you got to give these people. You have to offer to give them what they want. You're not just dropping your pants and giving away all your profit. You're just using your language to frame it in the way that the customer wants to hear it. So I think it's genius, but then again, it's just common sense. So few people use it. We do have some fans out there. Thank you, Joe Bogdan. That's a heck of a closer right there. And Paul Billy Nodis, I think he says, preach it. So we do have some people that are hearing what we're laying down there. And I can't iterate enough. I've watched Caleb run dealerships. I've went in when he was running dealerships. He was managing. He was leading from the front line. How easy is it, Caleb, if you have this process? How easy is it for everybody to look up and know where their leader is? And I've seen you, Caleb. You'd have 4 cars on the appraisal lane, which gives you a perfect opportunity to go talk and do that EMT, that early management touch, to every one of those buyers and to set the proper expectation. You have to be on your feet.
You got to be up, and you got to be, as a general manager, you just got to decide what you want. I mean, it really comes down to it. If your store's making $2 million a year and you're happy with that and everything's great and you're profitable and you're, above the 90% on the left-hand side of the page when you go to your 20 group and everything's great and you want to keep it there, then don't change anything. But if you want to make 4 million, 6 million, you can do that if you just change. You got to get excited. You got to be up on your feet. I was always high energy in the showroom because I needed to make sure that everyone else was. And if they see me just sitting in my office, walk in, shut the door, and I don't see them till I leave at 5, then they're not going to ever do anything other than what they're doing. So you got to be high energy. The used car manager, a lot of those guys, they don't want to do EMI. They want to just go appraise the car. But maybe you have the wrong used car manager, because who else to tell the customer they're going to give them the most money for their car than the guy who's actually appraising it? So I use the used car manager for my EMI if it's at the trade step. Or I use the floor manager or even another salesman. You'd be surprised, Billy, that if you have two salespeople and they're both out front and the customer pulls in and they're like, hey, I'm going to take this up. You help me out. And that other salesman just says, hey, I'm Jason and I'm here to help Steve. And, he is, just jump in there and make sure that younger salesman's on the right track. You don't have to have a manager to do management EMI. You just need a senior salesperson, someone who has the word track down, who knows how to handle the objections and can get that C guy moving. And we weren't really talking about teams today, but that's why I do like sales teams, is so I can pair these guys that are learning with these seasoned guys who can help put them on the right path. One more thing about the greeting. Last week I talked about the information card. That's a great time to put that in the customer's hand. So if I said, Billy, welcome to ABC Motors. My name's Caleb. What can I get you information on today? And you said, I only have 5 minutes. I just need the best price on this car. I'm going to say, hey, great, no problem. 5 minutes is more than enough time. I'm going to get you the best price. I'm going to get you down payment figures on your car. By the way, here's all the current specials available right now from Ford. You're going to have all the rebates here, all the special interest rates here. On the back is a little bit about our dealership. And if you want to see all the promotional vehicles that are right up front, the $199 a month cars are over here, and I'm going to give them that card and tell them all about the lot. And that's going to bring out the questions that they really have. If you chose to line your cars up from least to most expensive, you got to explain that in the greeting. You're going to want to say, hey, Billy, over here's all the Nissan Altimas. They're all $199 a month. I'm sure you saw that on the TV or you heard that on the radio or saw it on Facebook. Well, there's 50 of them right here. They're all $199. They're from least to most expensive. Just walk down the line, Billy, and just pick your down payment that matches pick the down payment you like, and your payments are $199. Nothing to worry about there. And you can just take your whole advertising message like we talked about last week, and you're going to go ahead and tell that customer about it in the greeting. So you can't just take bits and pieces to be really effective. You really got to follow the whole process. But to do that, you just set it up the right way, you manage it. And then, before we get off, I'll kind of go through some inspection elements that you can look at right now and find out where you are in your greeting process, so you know which things you need to change right away.
Sure, absolutely. And, against a lot of people's advice, I give away a lot of my secrets, and I just put it out there, and I show my competition what I'm doing right. And here's why I do that. I'm about to do it again right now. But it's hard work. These secrets, all these secrets don't work unless you do. And if you're a manager that thinks you can sit behind your desk and manage and train people, and I'm not going to do it, I'm going to make the salesperson do it, then you're probably an underperforming store. And if you are an underperforming store and you're trying to increase your sales and profitability, then you have zero excuse not to be on the front line, actually being the person doing the greeting. Every time I ever went into a store that was underperforming, and I've been in several, I got those numbers up quickly. I did that by going to the front line and just do what you're talking about. So here's the secrets I'm going to give away right now. If you're a dealership, if you're a salesperson, if you're a general manager, if you are our competition, if you're the competition of Caleb and me, here is another secret that you can use. We're having massive success all over the country with this. We have highly trained greeters. They are facilitators. They go out to these dealerships. They set up a nice table, and they're the first person to touch these customers. Hey, are you here for the big event? We're having a huge trade-in event. We're paying more than ever for your cars. It'll only take 5 minutes. I'll get you the best price, the best payments. I'll save you some time and get an appraisal on your car right now. They grab those keys. They walk around that car with the customer. It's no secret, man. My guys are just willing to do it. That's why they pay you and me, Caleb, to send facilitators all over the country. Their salespeople could do the same thing.
They sure could. And that's I had a phone call yesterday with probably the largest automotive media company in automotive, and we were talking about the events, and they were asking me not about buying them, they were just wanting to understand more about Facebook. And they said, well, we've seen these, our dealers have tried these with other people. They asked about the fake pages. They're like, well, the competitors say, we should create a fake page so we don't have to bother the dealer. And I explained to them, that's great. All that is a way to steal ad spend. I mean, and steal the leads and be able to resell those leads to the competitors. There's a lot of dirty tricks to a fake page and a lot of reasons why you shouldn't allow a company to do that. You really need to run from your own Facebook page. But I was telling them that the number one way to make sure these events are successful is to have a closer come in. And I know on your side of your business, and I know on my side, closers are not a profit center for what we do. It's just a way. I know 100% of the charge goes 100% to the closer, but that guarantees that customer is going to be happy, and it guarantees they're going to continue to do business with us because we sent that highly trained person into the store to do exactly what the dealership could do if they would take time to do it. But I don't think I've ever had an event with a facilitator there that hasn't re-signed or hasn't, came back to us multiple times. And typically they request the exact same person because they had such a great experience. And, I saw Paul commented on here, and if he's still watching, but Paul is actually at a dealership this week that had left us twice to try someone cheaper, someone less expensive. And both times they've came back and they said, you know what? We just can't do it without Paul. It don't matter what it costs, because when Paul's here, we make so much money and our customers have such a great experience that we're tired of trying to save $2,000-$3,000. We're just going to stick with Paul. And it's because of Paul. And Tim is the same way. Kirk has his thing. Kirk does a lot for us. Joey does a lot. And those guys have their customers who will only want them at their store because they know at least for those 3 days, they're going to have somebody there with a great attitude. And greeting, attitude, all that ties together. So,
well, here's an offer. I want to take this and use this time right here as an opportunity to offer. If you are a dealer, if you're a general manager, sales manager, if you're a salesperson, show this offer right here to your general manager. You can learn to do exactly what Caleb and I are doing. The easiest way to do it is to hire us. Let us send in a closer. Let us send in a facilitator. We'll train your people on site. We will give them access to the Digital BDC Academy, which teaches people how to be a level 1, level 2, and level 3 text ninja. We will do it from your Facebook page. You can see absolutely everything we do. And then on day 7, we're done. You can do it on your own.
That's right.
I challenge you to learn from us and then take our idea and use it as your own. I challenge you to do it.
I tell people all the time, Facebook's not the program. Facebook's not the product. Facebook's just Facebook. It's just you know what? A year from now, it may be a completely different source. It's just an effective place to advertise to get people to us. What we do is great communication skills with a call center that is mandated to be trained every day. I know there's a zero tolerance policy for not doing the Cardone on demand because we're Grant fans and we believe in the stuff he talks about and how he believes in communication with customers. So we mandate that the Cardone is done. We have highly trained people, and that's the product, and that's what people can't duplicate. Anyone can run Facebook ads. I would rather the dealer do it themselves. That way they get to see how it works. We just want to help set appointments for people on our side. But the product, like I said, there could be another avenue, another place to serve ads and get customers from. Social media is just the most effective right now, and that's why it's there. So I got a call. I was telling you last night, Billy, I got a call from Facebook or an email and then a phone call saying, hey, you can't say Facebook event sale. It's trademark infringement. And I said, okay, no problem. I'll take care of it. And I said, but I see flyers everywhere and they're like, look, we're glad you guys are doing events on Facebook. We're glad you're spending money with us. They said, but you can't say Facebook event sale. And I said, you know what? That's no problem because our product's not Facebook event sales. The product's DigiNinja. The product's the greatest BDC in the country. That's the product. I don't need to advertise Facebook. I just need to advertise that we have a great team of people who can solve any problem a dealership has through effective communication. So,
absolutely, man, did you nail it? Yeah, Facebook is not the profit. My people, your people, that's our product, Caleb, and we're able to introduce the most effective product in the entire car business to these dealers through multiple avenues. I don't care if TikTok takes over. I don't care if Instagram takes over. I don't care if Twitter takes over. I don't care if MySpace comes back. Because wherever the customers are, that's where we're going to be. And your first line of your customer and your dealership needs to be your internet department. And if you don't have an amazing internet department, then you need to hire mine. You just hire us for 1 week, learn how to do it, and then you'll never need us again.
That's right. That was one of the other questions that the company had yesterday. They said, well, why can't they just do it themselves? And I said, it's like this. And this goes back to the mental aspect of salespeople and BDC people. If I'm a BDC department and I'm managing, 500 leads, internet leads a month, 500 walk-ins, 500 phone, 1,500, and I want to talk to everybody for the first 7 days, then I need 3 people to work 8 hours a day to have 1-minute conversations with 1,500 leads. That's the math. If we back into it, that's what it's going to take. Now I put on top of them, let's just say lightly, I put on top of them 400 leads, okay, in a 3-day period of time. They're not going to see an increase in their paycheck. They're not going to see an increase immediately in all this. All they see is, man, this general manager is asking me to handle 400 more leads, and I can't even keep up with what I have now. And so what happens is let's say your ad budget is $50,000 a month, and you spent $7,000 on one of these Facebook events. The other $43,000 you've already spent for the month. If you try to have your team handle the leads from the $7,000 you spent with a company like us, then you're wasting the $43,000 you spent already, because they're not doing any of the follow up with the stuff that you already have generated, that you already have coming in. They're only working the Facebook leads that are just top of mind, just right in their face right then. So you really need to keep those separated. And that's another reason why I am a big advocate for not pushing these leads into your CRM, because your CRM is already full of a lot of trash. We don't need 400 autoresponders going out, breaking up and messing up the communication cycle. If the dealership if they use their own Facebook page and they don't do these fake pages, they have all the leads already. They have more information in Facebook than they could ever put into their CRM. So loading a customer's name, email into a CRM is nowhere near as beneficial as being able to click on the customer's profile in Facebook and seeing everything about the customer. You know where their job is, you know where they work at. If you scroll and you look at their photos, you'll see pictures of the last car they bought. You'll see everything about that customer. So when your agent has a communication, with that customer, they already know they can skip a lot of the steps of building rapport, because they already know, everything about the customer from their social media page. So that's why I don't like to push those things or merge leads into a CRM. It can be done. It's not super technology, guys. If some Facebook event company is telling you that, they're all using the same tool, and you can use it too. I just don't think it's a good idea, because I think you need to keep them separate and treat them different, because someone who messaged you on Messenger is completely different than someone who was in the store and left. So it's 2 different ways of following up, and to keep your mind sharp and know where it is, you got to keep it separated. But more than that, hiring us, and let's say we have 8 people assigned to your store, and you have 3 people in your store as BDC department, then it's really scalable. You're going to see that you need to let them worry about their normal job. If your store averages 25 cars a week, sell your 25. Our job's to add those extra 20 units on top of that. So doing it yourself we can teach you how to do it, but you definitely want to bring one of our guys in first to show you how to greet all the customers, how the sales process works, and then just decide, is your BDC big enough to handle the leads?
Absolutely. So I'm going to back up your point right there. If you're running a dealership and you're curious about what to do, you want to do it on your own, that's fine. I want you to do it on your own. Hire us, hire Caleb for 1 week, and then you'll have all our secrets. We'll train. I promise you, there's not 2 better trainers on the internet right now on Facebook than the 2 guys on this screen. We can train your people. We can get them up to par. We have it all on the Digital BDC Academy. Now, Caleb, we're we talked about some interesting things. We're running on 50 minutes right now. Grant's show starts at 12 noon. So I'm sure that you had more material that we're not going to be able to get to. What would you like to end on? What's something, maybe we have talked about it already, or maybe we haven't. What's a good thing to end this thing on?
All right. Yeah. So definitely. So I just think if you take nothing else out of this, is make sure you're setting your people up for success. Make sure if you have people that you feel like you need to compensate for, give them those compensation tools to help them. So make sure the customers have to be in an area to be greeted that's comfortable for everyone. Make sure they have the tools in their hands to know what to say. Put the script on a piece of paper until they get it. Role play every day, and until they know the greeting, don't let them take it up, because you can't afford for them to blow that customer. So just, give them the tools, set them up for success, set your people up for success, and inspect what you expect. Train. Go around, hit them. I know, Billy, I know we only have a few minutes, but the ejection ball, a great tool, a great idea is go buy a $5 soccer ball, and on every white spot on that ball, right on there, I'm just looking, 5 minutes. My wife isn't with me. I don't have any money down. Every objection you could think of, put on that ball, carry it around with you as a general manager, and throw it to salespeople as you're walking by. Throw on the ball. And as soon as it hits them in the face, they have to be able to handle that objection. Because if they can't handle it, when they catch the ball, then they're not going to be able to handle it when the customer tells it to them. But if I do that, you'll be surprised in just 1 week of carrying that ball around and throwing it to salespeople, and having that interaction and throwing it to the sales managers and making sure they can answer stuff just like that. It'll change your store. It's easy. It's fun. It's energetic. It lifts up people's attitudes, and it gets everyone prepared and ready for when the customer shows up. So I guess in closing, set your team up for success. Make sure every part of the greeting process, if you just observe it, make sure there's no roadblocks for salespeople, and then do your part to train them to be prepared to answer any objection that comes up.
I tell you what, that's a mouthful. Now, I want to talk about something that we mentioned earlier. You talked about that young people, you don't see in kindergarten people raising their hand saying, I want to be a car salesperson. But I do want to give you 2 examples of 2 young people that were still in school. One of them was a senior in high school. I think he'd already started taking some college classes, and he saw me on Facebook, and he saw me doing my live shows and doing my giveaways. He tracked me down. He won one of the events that we had on there, and the guy he was obsessed with learning more about this 10X mentality and this success that we were talking about. And Jamie Lopez came to work for me. He had, from a very young age, wanted to learn how to sell, wanted to be a master salesperson. And now that kid he's not a kid anymore. Now he's an expert and one of my key employees, one of my most valuable players. In addition to that, while I was at a dealership, Jamie was there with me. We were doing our live shows. We were showing people our process and getting attention and talking about 10X and giving away money and giving away things. A young man, I think at the time was in the 10th grade, maybe 9th grade. He came and wanted to shadow me for a day. And so he shadowed me. I told him all about the process, told him about the greeting that we're talking about now. That was about 4 years ago. I look up the other day and Paul's doing an interview. Paul Sullivan is my operations manager. He's doing an interview. Actually, he wasn't doing an interview. He had already hired the guy. The guy was in training. I look up and it's the same kid. And I'm sorry, Smith, do you know who we're talking about? He doesn't. Okay, I thought maybe he would. But we'll get him on here because this kid, he may be like a freshman in college. Maybe he's still a senior, but he works for us now. So we can show, I love the fact that young people want to be like us is what I'm saying. And we can show them a path to success with it, learning from our mistakes.
And not only that, they're getting a fast track if they just listen, because we're not trying to hide stuff. We're, 30 years. I mean, I can say 30 years in dealership life of seeing the mistakes and learning. And I'm all about helping other people and helping those guys grow and having them prepared. And that's why we do all the consulting for free, guys. So if you're watching this show or you're sharing it with someone, if you have questions, you can call. I'll give you any material, anything you need. I just want to help other people, help the automotive business be better for the people that are in it. And so that's what we're all about. We're not just looking for $1 from everybody. So just remember, anytime.
Thank you so much, Caleb. Here's the deal, guys. I was a good salesperson 20 years ago. I was a good salesperson 15 years ago. About 12 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I met Caleb, and he taught me some things. And I said, you know what? I am a good operator. I'm a good sales manager. I'm a good general manager, but I want to take this thing to the next level. And what I did, I paid Caleb to come to my dealership and implement some things, and I got to know Caleb. And the most important, most valuable thing that I got there was a relationship. And now the two of us have teamed up, and we're changing salespeople's lives all over the country, and we're making traumatic changes and success stories for the dealers themselves. So every single Thursday, we're going to be bringing you stuff. And right now, if you don't know Caleb, please put in the comments Caleb's. Make sure they can tag Caleb and follow him on Facebook. He may have room on his friends list. Definitely an asset. You need to grow your network, people. You need to know who Caleb is. I'm bringing him to you every single Thursday for free, and people pay for this, pay big money for it. So you guys need to be following people who you can learn from. I can learn from Caleb. I learn from him every single week. This week, I learned that it's important to protect the mind of your salespeople. If you want shows like this and shows or if you want information like this, you want it free, tune in every single day, live at 11. Billy W. Merritt. And on Thursday, I bring you Caleb Wilson, dealer expert. Thank you so much for your time. It's been about an hour. Grant Cardone's going to be coming up shortly. Don't miss that. What shows he have on Thursdays? Maybe a real estate show. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., Billy Merritt presents Feel Good Friday. See you tomorrow, guys.